Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the NECC Valorant Esports League. It's week number 3, and we're going to be taking things over to the Champions Division. My name is Marks. This is CMoore, and how you doing tonight, Colin?
Doing fantastic. To be brought on for a little bit of college Valorant with my good buddy. It couldn't be a better night than this, Marks. And you know what? On top of that, we got an all Canadian game to cast. So it's upgrades right now between the two of us.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because I feel like we tend to do mostly just Canadian events because we're both around Toronto. But regardless, tonight we are taking a look at Carleton Ravens White up against OTSU Esports Varsity, which is Ontario Tech. And so, just like that, like you said, these two teams going up against each other, and they're both from this wonderful province of Ontario.
Of course, both coming out of the Champions League as well here at NECC. You look at Carleton 1-1, Carleton White, not the main Carleton team, and OTSU 2-0, coming off a win versus Queens and Durham. So for Carleton White, this is a really good chance for them to kind of take down OTSU, bring them back down to their level, even up the score in the standings 2-1 apiece. But it does seem like it's shaping up to be a pretty good game between the two of them.
Yeah, and absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. This is going to be pretty competitive. We'll see how things kind of play out here because just based on the standings alone, OTSU do look pretty solid, but it's only week number 3, and so we shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves. And, well, we should start out by maybe introducing some of these teams. Let's start with Carleton. So let's see the roster that they're going to be bringing in tonight for the squad. It's going to be Jihoon Ah, Tippy, Barber, Tubby, Tay, and Skeptic all coming in here. And yeah, like you said, I mean, so far Carleton, they're 1-1 in this series. They have quite a few reserve players as well. But moving right over to OTSU, we've got Falcon, Scotty, Toby, JHK, and Cuddy coming in for this squad.
Yeah, Carleton residing of quite a lot of freshmen going up against OTSU, who have quite a bit of seniors on their team. When you look at OTSU, 3 seniors, 2 freshmen, and 1 junior kind of shaping up their Valorant roster, where Carleton White, it's going to be what looks like 5 freshmen, 2 juniors, and 1 senior in their total. I know, it's a big roster to have, so some players might play, some players might not play for Carleton, but I'd love to see some fresh faces coming into a new season of college Valorant. And for Carleton Ravens White starting off 1-1, you can see that it's taken a little bit for them to fully get their bearings together, but you said it best, it's only week 3 and both of these teams have a lot of room to grow still in NECC.
Yeah, and well, let's take a look at what maps we're going to be seeing tonight, and so we can kind of scope out how this whole thing is going to be breaking down here. And as you can see, map number 1 is going to be Bind. This was Carleton's pick. Moving over to map number 2, we're going to Ascent. Of course, we're going to Ascent. That is going to be OTSU's pick. And last but not least, if we do need that third map, then we're going to be going all the way over to Brand New Breeze. And so those are going to be the 3 maps for tonight. But Colin, what do you think about this whole thing?
Yeah, that's right, guys. Getting a Haven in this one this time. We got Breeze as that third map. A complete curveball from what I was expecting for a college Valorant game, especially on a Monday night. But here we get that Breeze as a decider pick if we do get there. It's my first time casting over Brand New Breeze. I'm not sure about you, Marks, but I'm excited to see it finally in a competitive setting from the caster boost. But when looking at, the first 2 maps, we got Bind and Ascent. Pretty straightforward. I don't think we're expecting to see anything out of the ordinary. I know, for Bind, you can start talking about Chamber again, but we've been talking about Chamber coming back to Bind for a very, very long time. I think the newest fun thing that I've seen about Bind is Yoru's been coming back a lot. Yeah. So I wonder if these teams are thinking about bringing out a Yoru pick.
Oh, I mean, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. As soon as the Sentinels ran it against 100 Thieves and both of the teams brought out a Yoru, suddenly you saw so many Yorus in ranked, so thank you to those 2 teams for trying to run that one. It's been a fun experience, but it is really interesting, especially too starting out with Bind and Ascent. Both these maps, pretty solid foundations as to how they operate. Obviously, Bind has seen a couple of changes there. Ascent completely untouched, but quite frankly, like when we talk about Bind and just kind of mindscaping what some of these compositions look like, we're starting to see a lot of double controller come out onto this map. Either the double controller or the double duelist composition kind of coming in there. Either, obviously, one favoring a lot more speed and the other one just favoring a lot more just control of the map and smoking off various areas.
And both kind of countering each other in that same instance, whereas a controller, you move around those duelists, the best that you can, especially if you're bringing out a Viper, it's going to stop them from a lot of that info gathering. But at the same time, if you're the duelist, you want to try to break through those barriers, break through those controllers. So it's kind of to determine what we're going to see between these two teams, because I don't know about you, Bars, but this is going to be my first time seeing these rosters. So I'm not sure what either of them favor, if they want to bring out that double controller comp, if they want to bring out the double duelist comp, or I've even been seeing teams a lot of the time on quite a few maps now bring out more often not more initiators in towards their compositions to also try to work around these controllers that just keep on popping up inside of the meta. So it's one of those things that I think Valorant in general is in a really good spot when it comes down to what to pick on a lot of these original maps, that a lot of players and a lot of teams are now getting really used to it, that they have their own confidence within these maps, their own kind of brand of a meta inside of these maps. I've been seeing, at least for collegiate esports, not for beyond collegiate esports, but in collegiate esports, I've been seeing a lot of teams tend to break metas on maps like Bind in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, though, when you talk about, like, collegiate Valorant, the scene is kind of exploding quite a bit. I mean, we can focus in on the meta game, on what's going on in Bind, and, all these teams coming together, all of that type of stuff. Yeah. But you know what? College Valorant is kind of exploding, and we're starting to see some of these teams that are also registered with NECC try to take on larger tournaments outside of the scene as well. Yeah. And it's that level of innovation that kind of comes through. They're trying out different things. They're trying out to see what's going to work. That's what we're kind of getting from this. And so, I'm still excited to see what both Carleton and OTSU are going to be bringing out for us tonight. And, I have to go back and quickly talk about that point you mentioned when we were looking at the rosters. Oh, yeah, all the freshmen, they're just bringing them in. It is like a known fact that, like, I feel like the younger they are, the better their aim is and the better their reflexes are. And so, you know what? I'm just saying, maybe that's a little bit of an advantage you got to think about, too.
That's how I feel in my ranked games too. It's
all those flicks, man.
As soon as I know that like somebody's just cracked, I'm like, oh, it's 18 and cracked again. Like I know what I'm going up against when I'm jumping into the ranked servers in Valorant. But we got Bind for our map number 1, folks. Just tuning in. This is a great time for us to mention follow NECC on Instagram, X, YouTube. We'll send you updates, keep you active on everything that's happening around the NECC landscape, and make sure that you show up to NECC for putting on tournaments like this. As we hop into game number 1, we got a little bit of a look at these agents. Anything pique your interest, Marks?
We're seeing a double duelist go up against a lot of smokes coming in here. Yeah. And quite frankly, I'm curious to see how this one is going to be working out here. OTSU starting us out on this offense, and already they've taken so much space. The classic Viper wall set up on that A side. Meanwhile, they're just storming over to that B, getting a lot of control here, but Tubby in an excellent position, Colin.
Yeah, fantastic spot to maybe see Tubby break through and shut this one down. But JHK very hesitant to walk through hookah. Nothing's definitely decided for OTSC at this moment. It seems like with Carleton, Ravens, White stacked over towards B, if OTSU decide to back over towards A, that is the right call to make at this point.
I mean, it's going to depend on how much room they're able to get with that single Viper. But at the same time, they've already kind of invested so much already. Tubby goes down. Now the initiation happens.
And they know players are backed in towards Garden, so immediate paint shells over towards. They're going to find Jihoon. And that's 2 members already down for Carleton, Ravens, White. So have to be careful for this retake. You definitely don't want to lose this Viper. But I think OTSU, they know the Viper's still there. Blink Bing Boy kind of trapped. They're going to go check this one out. Swing for 2. Blink Bing Boy still alive as well with 22 HP. Finally going to get cleaned up. And I think just in time for the rest of OTSU to stack this site. Scott Flyboy gets an ace in round 1. What a way for OTSU to start it.
I mean, listen, we were looking at it and we were like, oh, yeah, they could be able to take that A side. Should be nice and easy for them. But once again, this is why you bring those double duelists. Just so much forward momentum that they can use there. And, well, obviously, you got the paint shells clearing out the back. Toby can just dash in as well. And the whole wraparound, it just worked perfectly for OTSU on that first round. Of course, we did see a Bling Bling Boy, who is also Tip Your Barber, do a pretty good job at trying to contest it on that Viper. And quite frankly, I think that Viper is going to do the best job at least slowing down this rush. But this time it's the Ravens. They're moving out.
JHK, very reactional to what's going on as well. As Carleton takes the space, they just back up, disengage, and go back in with the Stinger. Limited damage onto this. JHK collecting these kills beside Cuddy. 3 players already down for Carleton Ravens White, and that should be the second round to go along with it. These last 2 remaining players just going to see if they could do any damage control to it. But, Marks, I want to touch on, the agents, so we keep on, talking about the double duelist versus the double controller. I mean, Carleton Ravens, they have the chamber pick, and a lot of the times it's going to act like a pseudo-duelist alongside that sentinel pick. So if this chamber can really start getting to work and start commanding this map a little bit more, it might be able to come in handy more than these duelists do.
Yeah, it is really interesting that you're talking about bringing in a chamber onto this one, because quite frankly, that completely just slipped my mind there. Usually when you see a sentinel being brought on to bind, we've seen a lot more creativity come out, whether or not it is going to be that Cypher, or quite frankly, Sage has also been on bind quite often too. Barrier Orb doing an excellent job of kind of locking things out here, but I have to question this chamber pick, especially right now. Obviously, it's still very early on in this half, but unless we start seeing that get a lot of kills, I don't think that it's going to do anything better on the attack, because at that point, why wouldn't you just pick a Jet if you're going to be playing a similar role in that fashion?
It's kind of similar to whenever we see a Reyna get picked. It's just, if you're not finding the kills on the Sentinel role, Chamber doesn't really find as much value as you would with, somebody like those Jets. So it's a great point to bring up, and a great thing that we're going to have to keep our eyes on for the remainder of this bind. But a lot slower out of OTSU, and this has allowed Tay to actually get a lot of space through B long. Now on the flank, going to be feeding this information to the rest of the team, and that's going to call for the Sky to set up over towards A as well with 4 members here. It's a 4-on-4 with a flank starting out from Carleton.
Oh, that was such a smart play by OTSU, using their utility perfect to zone things out, but once again, watching Tay on that flank might be brutal. Already, it's going to be the judge coming up good for Jihoon Ah, but Toby immediately trading it back. Tay, moment to shine here, misses a couple of shots, but is able to take Cuddy down.
It is. Bling Big Boy's going to put together 2, and Falcon, while all of this has gone down, has flanked Carleton now, working from their spawn. Snakebite's going to be able to bounce across over towards that spike, but they're going to get the defuse, and Bling Big Boy for 3 kills in this Viper picks up the first round for Carleton Ravens White.
And wow, what an important flank we got to see Tay go on. The entire spawn was taken more or less for free. And we talk about why you would bring a Jet instead of a chamber, and at the same time, I kind of have to eat my words there, because the reason why you want that chamber is to at least get that information that somebody might be flanking. Sure, they did have Falcon watching the flank, but was more or less just watching B main instead of all the way in their own spawn. Yeah. And that completely just crumbled OTSU on their post plan.
And Falcon, who wanted to do the exact same thing as Viper, I feel like it was a little too slow, a little bit too disconnected. So maybe a small mistake from OTSU. When it came down to it, it was their bonus round. So, not too much harm done. Now you're going to have that showstopper going into this round. See if you could go rifle versus rifle and, put this economy for Carleton Ravens White back into shambles. So Sky Smoke's come out from JHK. Is the stim beacon down as well to see if they can explode on the site? Is some information off of that Trailblazer on what's going on, but the spike will go down.
And this is OTSU being extremely fast and efficient every single time to get it.
Falcon.
But Carleton, they're starting to kind of clap back here. Skeptic with a good first pick onto Falcon over on that A site. Now they can just kind of storm in. Oh, the orbital strike, but Jihoon goes in with that judge, only secures 1, but they all crumble like the house of cards in OTSU. They survive with the 2 alive. And now they take that scoreline 3-1.
I don't know what the idea is of sending, Falcon all the way over towards A, but, if you find a pick, that's good. If you don't, I mean, your toxic screen is what you really need as that Viper, and the fact that it's covering B is all, I guess, Falcon feels like they need to do. I'm just surprised JHK had the orbital strike to use there. That is a round 4 orbital strike to cover all of Hookah, and I love that they used it right away, Marks.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of forced the hand of Carleton Ravens. They couldn't get themselves set up. Made that judge be in such an awkward position, but seems like it's shotgun city for Carleton Ravens. A couple of Buckies invested in here to potentially try and slow things down. Toby already dashing in, taking a lot of space as OTSU are getting ready to move in. Hopefully they don't move into here, but it is going to be the showstopper, which is at least as good for 1. Jihuna just around the corner. The shorty is going to be coming out here. Toby looking for it. Toby with the smaller shotgun wins it out as Scott is able to find one. It's absolute pandemonium as OTSU in an excellent position through the smokes, and it all falls down yet again. OTSU, a flawless round, and now it's 4-1.
It all falls down. I mean, I can't believe that you had 2 Buckies stacked inside of U-Haul, and neither one of them found the kill. Hats off to, OTSU and the way that they're playing, being so efficient with using their ultimates right away, not holding on to them for too long, not really giving anything to chance. And I think that's my favorite thing that I've seen about OTSU right now is the fact that they're not allowing these, run-of-the-mill shotgun plays on Bind get away with it at this point. The showstopper into U-Haul is such a heartbreaker for Carleton Ravens, who maybe were hoping to walk away with some surprise factor. But here we get the op in Tay's hand, and it misses such a crucial shot. That would have been the brim smokes gone.
Yeah, would have been an absolute massive first pick there. But I like to just use the mental imagery, OTSU have that showstopper. Carleton, they're like, we've got shotguns for days, and then OTSU just walks up and slaps it out of their hand. Not today. Not today at all. But here we go. Engagement going to be underway. Trailblazer already scouting out. Toby going in deep.
Oh, Skeptic is stunned and now beheaded. Bling Bing Boy's going to have to do a little bit of the heavy lifting at the moment, just hiding in the sky smoke. But they're going to allow this spike to get planted, and Jihoon is going to be under a little bit of pressure with this judge trying to limit that. Out he goes with the satchel, but right into the hands of Toby. Falcon's going to remove Blink Blink Boy from that site. Some nice shots coming out from these Vandals, denying any chance and opportunity from Carleton White. That you can see. Tay's got this op, and it's not going to be able to make anything of it. So that's a huge round for OTSC to continue to put together 3 in a row now to shut down the Rifles once again.
You know what? At some point, Jihuna will get a shotgun kill. I'm going to start manifesting that because we've consistently seen shotguns and honestly good situations where that should have been able to secure a couple of kills, but I think there's just a little bit too much information overload going on. You pop around the corner there, you've got that shotgun in hand, you're spotting 3 agents all with rifles spraying wildly at you, and it's so hard to be able to secure those 1 kills, but we need to see a little bit more focus coming into here. I was questioning why the operator would have just been lost on that last round for Carleton. It's because this tour de force is going to be online.
Yeah.
Only 5 bullets available, but if they can find an opening pick, this could really start swinging things around.
It comes down to Tay as well. It's just that op kill onto the brim would have been such a game changer for that last round. And now with the tour de force, can you start off on a better foot? You can. You take down the Viper as controller number 1 knocked down for OTSU as they start to rotate over towards Hookah, where 2 players
shotguns
are going to be set up here. Of course, it's the shotguns yet again for Bling Bling Boy. He has the Viper's Pit, but is he going to need it? HK peeks it out, expects the peek onto the left is Toby, but it's on the right that Bling Bling Boy is now going to collect that Vandal and hold this space for a short little bit of time.
It's just so dynamic. The way OTSU are currently playing, they're so fast at rotating around, so fast at taking all this space, and then they're able to find those timings just like we saw. Nice Molly to be able to make sure that they can't deny the spike plant. It's going to be 3v3 on this retake.
Those sky smokes, too, blocking off Tay from utilizing this tour de force. The time's going down. Do you wait for the smoke to go, or do you just break out? It seems like they want to just run on through with these sheriffs and with this stinger, but Scott's dancing around.
Oh, jeez.
Tay's not going to be able to hit that shot, and 3 clean kills from OTSU to find their 6th.
Oh, man. See, I was going to question how well the OTSU offense was going to be if they lose one of those key pieces. Because what I've been noticing every single time they engage on the site, we're seeing the exact same agents kind of fly in. They've got everything nice, rehearsed. But, okay, yeah, that's great if it goes textbook. What happens when you kind of put your back against the wall? The sky falls down first. What do you do from there? Things like that. And still, OTSU are impressing me. They didn't really have a whole big numbers advantage, but are playing extremely well around their utility. They're making the reason why these explosive attacks work is just because they're zoning off Carleton so effectively. And just like that, they're already doing something to counter out that operator from Tay.
Tay forced the TP back over towards this A site. Spike still down over towards Market, so nothing really to make out of this just yet for OTSU other than space gained. And the fact that Falcon goes down no longer do you have this Viper to rotate over towards the B site and grab this spike, so you have to send your Brimstone to do that.
And this is interesting. They have to go back and scoop up the spike. It's going to be a commitment coming in from OTSU, and if they find that headshot on the Tubby, that's how you want to start things out. Toby getting so aggressive is able to find yet another head. And now it's just easy pickings. OTSU will get the spike down. Bling Bling Boy finds 2, though. Ties us right back. Orbital Strike going to be inbound as well. JHK barely survives there.
50 HP. 2 versus 3. Now 2 versus 2. And through the smoke, Skeptic's gonna swing it, and Skeptic gets both of them! Together, they get it done. The power of teamwork from Carleton Ravens White off of that orbital strike, and Bling Bling Boy finding that double kill over towards Elbow. It's heroics right now from this Carleton team.
Bling Bling Boy might have the accuracy, but Skeptic's got the moves. Just a nice little hold down that D key. I was able to just find so many heads. I mean, dodged all the bolts out of the way, cleaned that one up. And listen, even though you look at the scoreline right now, OTSU leading 6-2. That was a very big momentum round for them, and we're starting to see the Carleton squad start to heat up a little bit. They're being a little bit more confident in their peaks, and especially too, to try and counter this, they need to be explosive on those retakes. They're having a lot more success when they just try and enter into those types of gun duels than trying to stop them from planting, because every single time they've tried to stop them from getting in on site, it's just fallen apart so quickly for Carleton.
Yeah, this is one Viper that Johnny Test just cannot fight against right now. Bling Bling Boy is so good for Carleton, but you need the rest of the team to step up and really start to show up in a lot of these slang and fragging battles that we do see OTSU opting to take. And 1-to-1, these guns look a little bit better on OTSU's side, and Jihoon still opting shotgun. Judge going to be sitting here. Showstopper is going to be pulled very early. And Tubby with some backup for Jihoon now to try to finesse their life. Tubby gets 2, no more than that. It's a 2-for-2 trade to get onto the site.
Well, Falcon's still in an excellent position, but honestly, Carleton Ravens, they know that this lurking Viper is going to be present. And honestly, that distraction alone is going to make this a little bit more difficult. Plenty of time now for OTSU to be able to set themselves up onto this post plant. But now the engagement comes through 3v3, and all the members are here ready to go.
Kente hit the shot, though. It's been such a hit or miss start for this op. But it would be a big beginning to this retake. A player in Hookah, 2 sitting over towards Gardens, and Cuddy's going to make some noise here with that guiding light. Blocked off by the Toxic Korean, and the orbital strike is now going to keep them off the spike. 3 kills go for Carleton, but are they going to be able to get this spike defused? They won't. Enough time was drained by JHK's orbital strike. And anybody on Carleton trying to get away with their lives. Tay will not. Dies to the spike. And a 7th round gain for OTSU to confirm an advantage at the half.
And there we go. It's so tough right now, but you know what? That was a really good kind of stall. Make sure that they don't have enough time to get that defuse onto there. It was pretty darn close, if you ask me. I, quite frankly, am being impressed by how Carleton have been playing these retakes. But they're running out of time. They've got their momentum now, but quite frankly, Colin, it might be a little bit too late. There's only 3 rounds left in this half. Both of these squads do have Viper's Pit. It's going to be Carleton on this save, trying to play a little bit more aggressive here. Already a lot of that raise utility coming out to try and be aggro, but Tubby finds JHK.
How good is Tubby? Tubby has really stepped up for this team, and they're bringing the fight over towards OTSU. A little bit of damage there that Bling Bling Boy's going to take from that snake bite, but all in all, a fantastic start to the round, especially considering Tubby gets away with their life, and the Trailblazer to re-clear that. Tubby gets fully away, and OTSU are going to have to now fight against a fully healed up team. Tay goes back in with the Guardian, and it's Guardian versus Guardian. Toby's going to take the equalizer.
Unbelievable stuff there. Now they're going to be moving in here. Scott finds yet another one. Now the Viper's Pit going to be deployed just for that insurance factor. Yuhuna's at least able to get one. No way. Cuddy goes down as well. Down to a 2v2. All of the ultimates pop. The Blade Storm online as well. Toby lurking inside of this. And now Carleton just biding their time, waiting for perhaps a mistake before they engage in.
So far, OTSU haven't made that mistake. In fact, you're going to have Toby in such a good spot. Yeah, aggressive in that Viper's Pit. Jihoon is going to have to fly on in, but Toby just on the edge of the Viper's Pit peeks out to clip that Raze's wings. And 8-2 we go. OTSU just continue to climb off of that, but not a bad round for Carleton Ravens White, I would say. For it being a thrifty round, they get aggressive through mid. They find that initial pick, get away with their lives. They give themselves a chance at that round marks. And on top of that, they get the Viper's Pit away from OTSU Esports. So right now, I think Carleton Ravens White, the fact that they get that, major ultimate away from OTSU, they can start to look towards getting, I'd say, maybe an 8-4 half at the end of this now.
And while we're taking this nice little timeout, don't forget, hey, follow us on all of our different social media platforms. You know what? That's how you're going to get the most up-to-date information about what's happening on NECC. And of course, too, you know what? Hey, you missed the VOD. You want to see your team. You want to maybe, prep against another team. Well, go check out our YouTube as well. And that way, you can see all of the VODs of all of the broadcasted matches. And of course, too, if you have a nice little ace or something like that, it's pretty easy to go back in there. Make sure that you can clip that, and then you can share it on X, formerly known as Twitter, to, let that clip pop off a little bit. Everybody loves that in the Valorant community, right?
Yeah, put it in your montage, your highlight
Yeah,
reel,
that's what they're called.
your free agent looking for team to X post. Or even just your whole college might want to put together a montage for how you've been playing. I know that for right now, both Scott and Toby can get that done in this double duelist. The showstopper right away, hunting down after this Viper. Stunned up by the Trailblazer, but nothing to come of that. A TP over from Toby over towards the B side. Scott's going to get shut down by the judge. Big kill there. Skeptic backed in towards Showers, not expecting Falcon to push that aggressive, and a couple kills for OTSU. Nullify this Viper. Leave us in a 2 versus 4.
I'm not going to lie, I really have to question whether or not Toby intended to go through the TP there, but worked out perfectly. Don't think anyone was really expecting Toby to be there, and well, Toby doing Toby things is able to shut that one down. Tay, though, on this flank here, catches the timing. Little bit of a spray down. Toby goes down. 1v3, Cuddy just looking for it. Tay, good for another headshot. 1v2.
Both separated. Not going to be easy. That snake bite is going to cut down so much time, and yet Tay just confused on what to do next. So much, so many steps ahead to get done. And that paralysis for a short moment gives Falcon the edge there in that swing. OTSU, they just don't look breakable at this point. They've so put together, so decisive on their actions.
I mean, even when you take a look at how the overall part of this game was, I mean, 2 rounds ago, kind of what called for that timeout, quite frankly, it looked like Carleton were starting to get themselves back into it. They were starting to pick up momentum. The rounds were a lot closer. And that's why I think that one Viper's Pit really just slowed them down. Tay, though, able to find Scott right off the bat. That should slow down their attack. Thankfully, OTSU still have that jet. They will be able to get quite a bit of ground here, but it's going to be a little bit tougher without those paint shells to clear out those corners.
Yeah, it's moments like that we've been looking for. Just small little advantages to play off of now. Let's see if they can expand. Tubby gets sprayed down through the wall, but it's JHK to just walk on site and collect 2 with a Phantom. And this plant's going to give him a 3rd orbital strike of the round.
Skeptic, move it around. Last round of the half, OTSU want to hit those double digits now. Could be all 3 members walking through here. The shotgun ready to go. Hopefully can find a little bit of value. Jihoon immediately shot down, but Bling Bling is able to find that trade. Now it's this 3v2 scenario. As it does look like Carleton have taken quite a bit.
And now that Hellfire's draining down. Falcon gonna jump up, spots Bling Bling Boy. 1 versus 3. It's just not possible. Double digits for OTSU Esports on bind first half. They finish on such a high note, Marks. And now only 3 rounds away from taking this first map.
And this is so tough because in the grand scheme of things, right, we know that this is Carleton's map pick. Obviously, it is bind, and so quite a few teams are pretty comfortable on this one. But if this was the case, then we would have expected Carleton to be doing a little bit better here. But with OTSU hitting those double digits, that mountain just looks so hard to climb. But it all starts with this pistol round. They need to make sure that they're able to take this. And once again, we talked a lot about their agent compositions, bringing in that chamber over that jet. And to be fair, Tay has been getting a lot of value. It's just comparatively to Toby, Toby has been on fire, taking so much aggressive space and being able to find so many kills. And we're going to be seeing them, of course, push out on this defense because that's why you bring a double duelist in.
And a nice shot from Toby again. It's just things like that. You're looking for the one-to-one to Tay. Again, goes the way of OTSU Esports. And it seems like that has just been the story of this game so far. Now Carleton Ravens have to fight from a deficit to attack A. And luckily, they're going to be playing this with the advantage. Now the rotation of Toby has come out. But now you got to deal with Scott Flyboy, who got an ace in the last pistol round. And that's going to be hard in its own right. And it seems like with a minute 3, they're just going to collect this ult torp and take their trials somewhere else.
I like this just discipline coming in from OTSU right now. Just use a little bit of utility. Don't over-aggress, though, if you know that there's going to be a numbers advantage, especially on this pistol round. You don't want to give your opponent anything here. And you can see that the rotation, at least, was drawn over to that A side. And that only leaves one lonely Viper on B. I'm curious, though, whether or not we're going to be seeing that one Viper. Falcon try to find a kill, or just completely abandon site and then have faith in the rest of the squad being able to come and back them up.
Falcon
already, though.
Snakebite.
OTSU, they know what's going on. The snakebite going to be going in there. Engagement underway.
Oh. And Cuddy clips Jihoon out of the sky. Toby through the teleporter finds Bling Bling Boy. And OTSU, once again, in the pistol round, they do not bend, they do not break. They trample over Carleton Ravens White with a flawless round to start that.
Man, that was so... Once again, I was questioning what was going on. It seemed like the OTSU rotation was just so slow moving over there. And then I was like, oh yes, of course. They have a teleporter right beside them. This makes a lot of sense, actually. And immediately, you can tell the information gets given. They pull out their knives. They run through the teleporter. And immediately, that hookah pressure just makes it so much more difficult for the Carleton Ravens to not only focus on the people flooding out from the back of B, but now their backs as well. Excellent job from OTSU.
That's 2 one-taps from Toby in that round, too. I mean, how good has this Jet been in the head-to-head between these two teams? Toby does it again! I mean, Tay just can't catch a break so far. This Jet has been all over the place, yet just nowhere at the same time. They cannot, put a pin on where this player has been. And Toby's going to get aggressive, too, with this Judge. Drop Skeptic down to 60 HP. At this point, Carleton Ravens, they just need to go. Gain some confidence off of this execute and see if they can overwhelm.
And honestly, confidence, that's a good word to use right now because it doesn't seem like they were that confident in being able to win these gun duels. OTSU have almost conditioned them to just expect not to be able to win things out. Toby, able to find so many consistent just one-tap headshots, whether or not it's with that Vandal, whether or not it's with the Guardian. That is an absolute menace, and yet still, they try to challenge it. Well, they will push Toby back.
Fight it.
It's the smart thing to do.
Toby backs up with the Guardian. Another headshot for this Jet. Cuddy's waiting in the wing with a Spectre. Things just not looking good for Carleton Ravens White here on Bind, and their map pick looks to be ending quicker than they expected.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a look at those stats right now, Colin. We got Toby with 19 kills thus far, only 6 deaths. Of course, we do see JHK and Falcon only with 5 deaths as well, but once again, I mean, Toby is the quote-unquote star duelist player on this squad as of right now, but there's a lot to say just about how much they trust their own teammates. On that previous round, we saw Cuddy ready for the swing, being able to come out there and use that Spectre and spray the rest of them down. We've seen JHK also be there as well. You know, you got to make sure that you are supporting that star duelist to be able to find those first picks, and then it's just been such a killer of momentum for Carleton. They're even so scared to peek around these initial corners that they can't take any ground, allowing OTSU to just get anywhere. Toby doing it yet again, gets a little bit of a bullet, but immediately just gets out of that situation.
Just a little bit of damage taken, and Toby's already lost in the wind. And it just seems like there is no wind in the sails of Carleton Ravens White at the moment, and we might be thinking about a sense already. Going for the knife kill, Scott Flyboy trying to end it with a little bit of BM, I'd say, towards the end, but they get it done with a 13-2 victory on Bind. They take down Carleton Ravens White on their map pick, and OTSU just look like they are built different at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly have to call back to that round where we saw that Viper's pick come out in that 2v2 scenario, because Quite frankly, I thought that Carleton Ravens were going to be able to come back into this map. It looked like they were finally starting to figure out, it's finally starting to crack the strategy, and you could see OTSU were not playing as confidently. But as soon as that Viper's Pit went down and we got to that 2v2, that was a very clear indication that OTSU, they said, this is where that stops, and now we are going to control the rest of the game. And they were executing beautifully. Carleton Ravens, you can see that there are a couple of those moments where they are starting to peek through. They're just able to counter strat a little bit. They're adapting their play style too, but unfortunately that just came a little bit too late. And so OTSU, an absolute storm of victory, 13-2.
You know, I won't fault Carleton at all. You could see that they were trying to make changes for sure, Marks. It didn't seem like they were able to match OTSU in a lot of those battles, you know, as we were highlighting through a lot of this game. And it came to about a point where it just seems like OTSU and a lot of these battles are just a little bit of a cut above Carleton at the moment. And there's still some work to be done in this roster. Heading over towards Ascent, I'm just looking at Carleton being a little bit more decisive, a little bit more together in their calls, and more confident in the battles that they're taking, because we saw towards the end there, they just didn't want to attack a site. They didn't want to fully execute, but because they were worried and where OTSU were and what they were going to do when they did make that play. I mean, heck, you can't just put everything on a Toby and Scott Flyboy there, because JHK in the first half of Bind, they had 3 orbital strikes. I mean, that is insane to think how decisive OTSU have been with not only their playstyle, but with their ultimate usage as well. They're leaving nothing to chance.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it just shows the level of discipline that are coming in from OTSU. Kills are flashy, don't get me wrong, but when you're taking it to that level and really just putting the strategies together at the top part, that's when you can see these moments of brilliance absolutely come through. But you teased it. We've got map number 2, which is going to be Ascend, also OTSU's own pick. But first, we're going to throw it to a quick break, and when we get back, we'll have map number 2 ready to go. So don't go anywhere. Let's see if OTSU can 2-0 Carleton, or if Carleton, they can start to pull this one back. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, everybody, to NECC of Valorant week number 3. It is Carleton Esports White up against OTSU Esports Varsity. And, well, my name is Marks. This is CMoore. And we had a pretty decisive first map, wouldn't you say?
A little bit, I would say. 13-2 is a little bit one-sided. You know, for Carleton's map pick, I like that they never gave up. You know, that's one thing I'll definitely give to them for Bind. They were always trying something new. You can see that together they felt like their powers were kind of like, I guess, able to break through OTSU. And at times we did see them, you know, break on the side, make those retakes happen. But it seemed like there were a couple steps that they weren't able to put together in a lot of those site takes and a lot of those site retakes, that they were always missing one little thing, whether it was the pacing, whether there was, you know, a trade here or there. And there was some small little mistakes that started to add up for Carleton, and it just snowballed into what was a 13-2 victory for a very put together OTSU team that we did see as well. I mean, what can we talk about for OTSU other than behind their double duelist composition that just looked like the stars of the show? They were playing off each other and leaving nothing up to chance for Carleton to kind of pull back on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we can talk about OTSU. Hey, they shoot well, and they click heads extremely good. But at the same time, you know, the combination of smokes, mollies, doing such a good job of really zoning out Carleton whenever they wanted to take space. And as a result, we saw very explosive attacks. We did see a little bit of the defense. And on top of that, too, we were seeing very similar things. They're doing an excellent job at just making sure that it almost feels like there's like a flow chart, you know, like, what happens here? Then we do this. And then if this happens, then we go over here. And you could tell that it just felt really coordinated. And this is definitely a squad that know what they're doing. But once again, Carleton, one player I do want to highlight, Tay was starting to heat up a little bit there. Obviously, Toby was getting a lot of, you know, first bloods, but Tay was doing a good job at starting to contest that a little bit.
I would say Tay, you know, there was some, you know, good things out of Tay and some unfortunate things out of Tay that you just can't really handle at some points. I feel like Toby was in a flow state at one point where those opening picks just seemed like they were an unwinnable battle and an impossible fight to take for Tay. And, you know, it's a hard role to be in when you do pick the chamber on Bind, because you're forced in a situation, especially on the attack for Bind, that you feel like you have to combat those initial battles, and you're not always set up in a good position to make it happen. I feel like Tay was getting the, the short end of the stick a lot of the time versus Toby, who just was on fire during that game. So I will not put any hate onto Tay for what we were saying on the chamber role. They did their best.
Yeah.
They were doing everything right. It's just Toby was playing at a complete other level for that game, so it was just not a lot you can do in that sense. Moving over towards Ascent, though, I would like to see this Carleton white team move away from doing something a little bit specialized and start to move into something a little bit more meta, because one thing that definitely didn't look good for Carleton back on Bind was the comfort of this team, and I would like to see them find a little bit more of a space of comfort here on Ascent that they can work off of and not have to feel forced into doing anything above and beyond.
And actually, I like this composition coming in from Carleton. Very stock standard here, even though, the patch came out. We heard all sorts of celebrities talk about how Jet is no longer going to be viable, but we're going to be seeing 2 Jets coming in for both of these teams, honestly. And I'm curious how this Reyna's going to play. We do see Scott lock in the Reyna. And so we're seeing, once again, OTSU, that signature aggression off of that first map. They love just using that momentum, but a lot of role swapping around here. Let's see how it goes. Carleton starting us off on the attack, and already they're going in.
Yeah, Skeptic takes a little bit of damage off the Shock Dart too, but right over the top with the Jet, right into the hands of Toby yet again, who's been lights out with the Sheriff. Didn't have to hit the head, as that initial damage on the Skeptic let them a little bit softened up for that Sheriff to clean up. Cuddy's going to double down as well. Carleton down to 1 remaining player. Jihoon now over towards the Kalejoy. Can they clutch up? Turret's going to go away. That already the players have rotated. And player number 5, Falcon, a little bit late to the party, but here they are. Falcon's going to be watching the overextension. Jihoon's going to walk right into the sightlines of that Sheriff. And OTSU continue where they left off with winning these rounds in a very decisive manner.
Yeah, this is crazy to me because we're seeing a lot of role swaps going on for OTSU. I mean, the only one who's really stuck onto their role is going to be Toby on that Jet. And still, they're looking extremely strong. Once again, just a very excellent shutdown, understanding that the rush is going to be coming in. They hang out in the back. They zone things off perfectly. And Carleton, quite frankly, they did have a really good execution plan. They just kind of ran it down, but that aim is just so good from OTSU right now. And now Carleton, oh no, they're going to be going down long mid, but that's Toby. Already found the shot onto Tay. It's going to be the Sova down. And well, at least they have that other initiator. The KO will allow for a little bit of flashes, maybe disable some of this Killjoy stuff. Still, going to be a tough one for Carleton on this save.
Losing out on that Sova, you lose the Recon Dart, you lose the Shock Darts, and now you lose Jihoon, so there's no post-plant potential with this Killjoy, and things just continue to fall apart for the second round of Carleton Ravens. No room to work against. The turret kill coming out from Timmy the Turret from Falcon. And you might lose 1 member, but other than that, Carleton Ravens white, they get swept under the rug here. And now we head into the rifles.
All right, so this is the supposed round where things are going to start getting real here. And you know what? It's so tough for them to do anything because Toby has been so consistent at these first bloods thus far, and especially too, that's just a Guardian. It's not even a sniper rifle, and Toby's having this much of an impact. We are going to be seeing Carleton. They're going to be bringing in the rifles on this round. Not really close to getting any of their ultimates online, but I'm curious whether or not they're going to try and rush it again. I mean, if you're going to try and just overpower the sheer numbers, you got to just kind of commit to it. Toby, though, already taking so much space, so OTSU have all the information. It's going to be a brawl on mid.
And one that they might not be ready for, but Tate turns around and finally gets the better of Toby. Allows Toby to take down JHK, and it's Scott Flyboy's time to shine with this Reyna. The Guardian's going to be picked up off Toby's body, but already we see Carleton Ravens white pivot over towards BA and get this spike down. And Scott Flyboy going to get checked by Tay yet again, taking down this double duelist comp.
And see, that's the thing. We saw OTSU. They were like, oh man, Toby went in, Toby died. We have to swing off that. We have to get something. But it was just the pure numbers. Atop that too, being alerted of their presence. They ended up just trickling in one after another. And so that makes it a lot easier for the firing squad to make their bullets count. And yeah, it is a little bit of a save coming in for OTSU as they did try to bonus this round. So not going to be expecting much as Skeptic finds one. And Cuddy no real answer here, but we'll hold on to this Odin because that was a little bit more of an expensive gun, you know?
Yeah, I love seeing a Sova on Ascent clutching their Odin running away. Like, no, please don't take me away from my child.
This is mine. It's my precious.
I need to hold down B with this Odin. You guys can't take it away from me. But other than that, I mean, at some point you have to look at this. Like, is OTSU Esports, is it kind of a live by Toby, die by Toby type of deal that we got going on? Because I'm going to say the same thing that I did say about Tay now for Scott Flyboy. If this Reyna isn't finding kills, it's not going to have value for the team. So, you know, a lot of the time, Scott Flyboy might fall into a similar role that Tay did on the feeling of having to re-swing after Toby goes down, having to, you know, step up in that position. And it's somewhere where Carleton Ravens White might be able to exploit this aggression.
I don't think it necessarily is a live or die by how Toby plays, quite frankly. I just think that they'd have to be a little bit more cautious because, you know, they're feeling good after map number 1.
For sure.
And they're starting to make a couple more mistakes, and I think that last round really demonstrated that properly. As soon as Toby dies, you know, you got the information there. I don't necessarily think that's just a let's dry peek this corner. And so many of them fell down immediately afterwards. So those fundamentals that make a difference.
It was a bonus round, so, you know.
That's true.
Carleton Ravens White, they also took the bonus round back on Bind, too, and we know how that went, but it's some important things that we need to take up into conversation. Toby here in a quite unorthodox position, going to be able to drop that Cloudburst and Tailwind out. Skeptic doesn't want to let that happen, and lovely trade coming out from Skeptic to stay on the heels of Toby. Now as they equalized, will they have the read on JHK?
Oh, take a little bit of bullets here. JHK in the back. Has to watch out for that, shoots that down, but the information's given.
And now they know. The Aldron's going to get that secondary information, but here comes Scott Flyboy over the top of the heaven. The Phantom's going to land on towards that Killjoy, and now dumping right into the deep end. Tay has to clean up where the team has fallen. That's not going to happen with 3 members remaining. They walk onto site, and they pick them apart.
Standing ahead.
All right, Colin, you said it. Do they live or die by Toby? Toby was the first one to fall down from that squad. And still, OTSU, I think that, once again, that foundation is very solid. They're ready to support Toby. And in that situation, that really started to shine because Toby wasn't there. Sure finds a first pick, but immediately just got traded out. And so an excellent just adaptation from OTSU, doing a fantastic job of just, you know, slowing things down and just kind of taking it easy before they move in.
I mean, I will say Toby got that first pick, though. Tailwind out and still did a lot of damage onto Skeptic. So, you know, you do go down first for the side of OTSU, but it gives a little bit more, I guess, chance to the rest of them. But you're making some fantastic points in the fact that OTSU, they are covering their tracks and they're supporting Toby in every way possible. We did get a little bit of a disconnect from Tubby, so it looks like they've already found their way back into the server. So pause should stop soon. I can't see the chat, so I don't know if it's true or not. Maybe Tay hasn't come back. A couple of players seem to be having a little bit of connection issues for Carleton Ravens White, but we are going to work on that for sure. In the meantime, you and I, we can talk a little bit more about these two teams from what we've been seeing and what we might be needing a little bit more from Carleton Ravens White.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they have to start to look for those opportunities where I think OTSU start to show a couple of their cracks. Because the way that we've kind of talked about this OTSU squad, it being extremely rehearsed, you know, making sure that they're able to use their utility properly, take those gunfights, are winning it out, they're clicking heads, all of that type of stuff. They have to look for those little mistakes that they're making. And as soon as they start to punish some of those mistakes, then it feels like they should be able to overpower OTSU in the sense that, okay, mistake happened, they're kind of confused in a moment, let's try and take an advantage of that and try and get that spike down. I think that we started to see a little bit more of that when Toby fell down in that last fight that we just kind of saw there, where they were so easily able to take the site, but I wanted to see them be a little bit more proactive. We saw in that first map, they looked a little bit more scared, but when they were able to take Toby down, get the site, get the spike down, all of the players felt really static until the site was more or less taken over. I think that we should have seen a little bit more aggression coming through there. You know, push the jet a little bit further in, make your way onto heaven, cut off some of those angles so that you can catch some of OTSU off guard a little bit, because then you're just kind of playing OTSU's game.
No, I agree, especially considering they knew that JHK was in hell. They knew the player was there, so kind of why not send your players forward to get rid of that Omen? It would give them so much more room to play with on that site. When you take down Toby, it seems like it's that moment where you check under the bed and the monster's not there, and you're like, okay, now finally we can do everything that we hope for. But it does seem like we do have a little bit of time on our hands before we do get these players back in. So we're going to take a quick little break while everything gets settled with the players, and we will be back with Ascent very shortly, folks, as you're watching NECC. We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back, everybody. It's NECC Valorant in front of you now, and once again, it is the Carleton Ravens White up against OTSU Esports Varsity. We're on map number 2, just getting the rest of those DC issues coming into here, but already, I mean, I don't want to curse anything here, Colin, but on map 2 Ascent, things are looking pretty good for OTSU.
No curses here. We are...
I need Saltbot to throw over my shoulder.
Yeah. You know, we are.
Is there any wood around to knock on?
We're not my desk is wood. I'll knock on it for you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
We're not caster cursing this. Promise you guys. Welcome back to the stream for sure. You know, it hasn't been, you know, the worst start for Carleton. You know, after that loss to on Bind being 13-2, I was maybe expecting OTSU to walk into this one with a little bit more oomph, but I think Carleton Ravens White have been showing a lot of change in the way that they've been playing with a lot of these role changes as well, and I've been liking the aggression that they've been kind of meeting OTSU with. So a little bit of a break here off those disconnects. Maybe it's given them a chance to further talk about things. Bling Bling Boy hasn't had the best start, 0-4 on this Omen, who is a very pivotal player back on Binds. Hopefully, you know, this Omen can start to heat up as they're walking right down market 4 players here with Stingers.
Yeah, so quick. Oh, JHK goes for the TP out there. Is able to at least find 1 kill. Tay, though, trading that one right back. There's the information known. Scott finds a nice little headshot here. It's complete Uno reverse. The defenders are all the way outside in Carleton. Well, that was a very nice shot coming in from Bling Bling Boy. Able to find that headshot there. But of course, there's a reason why your Sova holds on to that Odin so tightly, as that's just a very fast round that goes over just like that as OTSU gets it.
Holding that Odin like it's Gollum holding the One Ring. It's just OTSU kind of making some really comfortable plays there. I love the TP back over towards Garage from JHK. A small little minuscule mechanical play that you can make to give you some spacing away from those Stingers. And not only that, just the reassurance that Scott Flyboy pushed it to Garage, got that initial kill on towards Jihoon, and gained that space for OTSU. It was a very comfortable play for them to make, to just disengage from that, and a very good round there to shut down that aggression through market. Mid Control looks to see the idea here from Carleton Ravens, but Scott, Flyboy, and Toby, they get the information, they back down with their lives.
That's a good level of aggression coming in from Carleton. They got to be careful, though. They know that this Killjoy trap is just set on the other side. They're going to choose to go for it anyways. 1 swarm grenade goes off, but look at this, Carleton. They're able to find 2 there, Scott. Just holding it down. Oh no, the dismiss into just pure gunfire. Empress isn't going to save you from that one in Carleton. They take it over now. Let's see if they can retake this. JHK moves in, throws the paranoia down. Nice little flick.
Team with the turret, a little bit more damage onto the Omen. He's going to TP back out. May have baited them to thinking he TP'd on site, but with the crossfire, Tubby should have reassured Jihoon that this Omen is still all the way up in heaven,
No
but
way.
JHK is just going to jump down. Nice shot there onto Tubby. Not able to win out the round as the KJ was just around the corner, able to swing that out and give Carleton Ravens White their second, but fantastic plays being made from JHK. From Brimstone to Omen, they're still flashy.
Man, I gotta try that play when I'm playing ranked. That was so fun. Just jumps onto the box immediately, 180s, and, you know, is able to spray someone down because you don't expect them to just hop down there. Excellent job trying to win that one out. But Carleton, it's their round regardless. This time around, it's going to be the pure rifle round coming in, but Carleton, they've got a lot of ultimates online. I'm assuming we might be able to see that just fast entrance, especially with how they're going. You know, pop that null command and make it in fast. Okay, never mind. They're going to start actually with the lockdown.
Yeah.
Maybe the null command, save that one for later.
The thing is, Falcon doesn't have a lockdown of their own, so at the moment, it's a very comfortable spot to be in for Carleton Ravens White to take this site. From the shadows, just get a little bit extra information over towards Heaven and allows safe passage for the spike plant.
And now let's see how they do this. OTSU, still in this 4v5 situation. Hunter's Fury actually coming in here. And look at this, null command finally activated as well. Gets quite a bit of information, but no kills here. And uh-oh, they're coming in and they're coming in fast.
Tommy just swings a little bit too far out. Not going to be able to revive this KO whatsoever. Tay going to get a return kill there onto Scott Flyboy, but a 3-on-3 now for the side. Falcon down to 6 HP. Jihoon on the cross. Ooh. Getting information over towards Bling Bing Boy, who swings out with the Guardian, but the Odin cuts down 2. Sticking it out, it's going to be JHK. And a 1 versus Jihoon. The spike isn't halved, so another round goes to Carleton Ravens White, and they will surpass that second that they were stuck on Unbind for so long.
Okay, yes. Fair. They were able to overcome that, but look at the amount of ultimates that they needed to invest in that last round. I think that this is going to be one of those next pivotal rounds to see whether or not this is going to break OTSU down, because they're going to be forced onto the save here. Okay, sure, we're going to have the jet knives probably coming out from Toby, but if we do get to see them make sure they maintain their mental, then I don't think OTSU are going to be faltering that much. Carleton just spent a lot to really bank on that being a huge momentum round. Let's see how OTSU respond.
They respond with patience, too. Toby trying to stay alive. It's a anime fight right now between the two, but Toby puts away the knives, takes out the classic, and a right click to the forehead. Takes away the jet now. Here's the resurgence of Carleton Ravens White off of that to get a trade kill, but still have to worry about this Killjoy Falcon sitting over towards A, and already you do see Toby rotating, rushing to the rescue.
This Killjoy is set up, but for once, tree is completely open. That should at least allow Carleton to take a bit more space and then figure out what they want to do here. They still have that weapon advantage. Keep that in mind. And they're going for the snake maneuver around. Scott should be able to catch this, though.
Toby didn't see it, so Scott's going to have to see it, and they do. And now that knife is going to give all the info away. Toby sitting here with the Blade Storm. It's easy pickings for Toby. 3K with the ultimate that cuts them to pieces. Scott Flyboy is able to clean up the rest. And like you said, they do not falter into the thrifty round. They take back what is theirs. They lead by 2.
Oh, no. Okay, so just to pick up on my point from that last round. Okay, yeah, you see Carleton Ravens come in there. They pop 4 ultimates, are able to just completely shut down OTSU in a very dominant fashion. They're feeling good about themselves. They force OTSU into this eco save. That should be another easy round for Carleton. But look at the economy right now. Carleton, they don't have enough money to be able to buy up the rifles on this one. OTSU, off of the back of Toby's Blade Storm, make sure they are still in this one. And now they've got their foot forwards. The analogy escapes me. Doesn't matter. Skeptic's already down.
Never fear. Toby's here. Yop now in hand of this jet is just something else. As you thought Toby was dangerous with the Sheriff, the Vandal, and the Blade Storm, he can also use the Operator. So this is a multi-tricked jet player, which is not something you can say all the time.
Yeah, you know, variety is the spice of life. Even in a game like Valorant, you know? We see people off-rolling all the time.
Not in my ranked games.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Everyone's just lock and duelist. Yeah, I get it.
Oh, but Tubby might get caught by this one with the knife out.
Oh, that's not good.
Expecting for the play. Nobody watching the aggression back in towards A main. And another freebie there for OTSU should be the nail in the coffin for the round play.
And that's the thing. I mean, Carleton, they were playing at such a slow pace, kind of waiting for the defenders to just play aggressively and then they could take those angles. But it's kind of funny. In a way, that allowed OTSU to be able to push up and take a lot more space and then pretty much do the exact same thing back to them. Falcon winning that KJ duel, and now it's just up to 2 members left on a thrifty round. Trying to get something happening here, but nope. Gonna be all down, and Carleton, not looking too good for them this round. Suspicious, though. Might be a little bit of a connection issue based on the current positioning of where Tay is hanging out.
Wait, they didn't... Wait. Okay, they know. Yeah, another disconnect for Carleton Ravens White. It's unfortunate, but Mark, I have good news and I have bad news for you. Which one do you want?
Hit me with the bad news first. Let's start there.
The bad news is they disconnected again.
Yes.
The good news is they disconnected on a thrifty round. So at least it wasn't the rifle round for them. And, I'm just trying to look on the bright side right now for Carleton Ravens White, who have, looked definitely better. They got that third round for sure. But I'm right there with you. A little bit, I guess, expensive to get that round win. I think that they overinvested for that, and it has costed them down the line. It might be a little bit of a case that if, a couple of them are thinking they can use that ultimate back in that round all at once, and later on towards the end of the half, they're going to have more ultimates. But I would have liked to see them be a little bit more frugal with those ults, work together a little bit more, play off of one, maybe two of them, and, kind of make it work. But, I'm not going to fault Carleton Ravens White whatsoever for that either, because they are looking for some lifelines right now.
Absolutely. And once again, you take a look at how map number 1 went. OTSU, they were still establishing their rhythm. They were starting to get comfortable. And that's when we saw the Carleton Ravens just kind of push back against that a little bit more, right? And unfortunately, the timing of this came a little bit too late for Carleton, because I think that, that is a momentum round. Just like I said, you use all those ultimates, you cement that round for yourselves, and the whole point of it is trying to demoralize your opponent, because then you force them into the save the next round. But at the same time, OTSU, they're so in their own groove right now that a round like that, that's not going to make the biggest difference in the grand scheme of things. I think if this round happened on that first map before OTSU started to really dominate how the whole game was going, this could have completely been a different story. Maybe we wouldn't seen some of these other players besides Toby start to warm up as much, because like we said, Toby is the star, but the rest of OTSU are doing a fantastic job as well.
For sure. I'm right there with you. I think that we'd be having a totally different conversation about those ultimate usage if it kind of snowballed into a couple more rounds off of that momentum. But that thrifty is killed all momentum off of that one. It is just kind of shut down Carleton Ravens White when they really needed it most. But with this break, again, with the DCs, we are going to be stepping away from the broadcast for a few seconds. Just get these players back around, let us even, maybe get some water for ourselves and get ready for what is to come for the rest of Ascent. So sit back and enjoy for some more NECC. We will see you back here in, hopefully, a quick little break.
Welcome back, everybody. All the players nice and reconnected. And so we can go again. 3 rounds left in this half. OTSU still leading us. And now, hey, Colin, they're starting to get a couple of ultimates online of their own.
Yeah, that's a scary thing to look at. Falcon still has their lockdown. Cuddy still has the Hunter's Fury. And JHK, who's already been a very dynamic piece of the puzzle, now has the fight from the shadows to just be above and beyond in that situation. Gonna tuck away into Wine as well, playing off of this turret contact for Falcon. They have a fantastic setup for A-Main to at least get a little bit of a one and done in case, you want to TP out of there. But all in all, liking the setup of OTSU, and top of that, seems like Carleton Ravens want to walk right into the trap.
Looks like they're going to be doing just that. Falcon gets the information. Excellent paranoia coming through as well. Falcon in a weird position, but JHK in Wine able to drop the spike as well. That's going to be huge, and now they can kind of play defense around it. Lingley Boy just around the corner, but already their numbers are falling.
Scott Flyboy's going to run through too. And that Reyna is starting to pick up a little bit of traction for OTSU Esports, which is already been scary in all other parts of this game. So why not put on a red hot Reyna as well? 12-6 at a Scott Flyboy, 11-6 at a JHK. Toby hasn't even been the star of the show here, but it feels like Toby has been doing so much for the team. They have 4 ultimates online now.
Yeah, and it's, once again, this is not going to be a very good round for the Carleton, unfortunately, because look at their economy situation. They're bringing in a lot of sheriffs here. And to be fair, we have seen, a couple of crazy eco rounds here, but fortunately, once again, the momentum feels very securely with OTSU. Like you said, a couple of ultimates to pull from if they need to. Quite frankly, doesn't seem like that's the case at all. They've been doing a fantastic job of just taking so much control of this map and absolutely punishing Carleton on any of their locations.
The other day I saw a whole team spam out that Sova from the attacking side. And I think it was like one of the first times I ever saw that. It was a little bit of an Uno reverse card that made me chuckle, but not going to see that here whatsoever. I'd be surprised even if OTSU used any ultimates in this round. But at the same time, I wouldn't be because they were so keen on using ultimates back on Bind in situations like this, just as, you know, an insurance policy. But Toby's going to be watching this from market. Skeptic has repositioned on a little bit of a unorthodox angle here that Toby might not be ready for, but at the same time, Toby's not really getting in on this peak. He's finally going to overextend there, and that gives Jihoon a little bit of an advantage there. Peeking out's going to be JHK, but still the trades coming through for Carleton Ravens. They break away with Cuddy going down. And now OTSU Esports have to decide, do they want to use the lockdown as well as the Empress? And it seems like at least they're going to use the Empress.
At this point, I don't even know if you really commit that lockdown either. Weapon advantage is still with OTSU, but, you know, they've got the operator here. If I'm OTSU, I'm calling for a save, but Tay, just around that corner, doesn't want to let go of that operator at all. Scotty gonna be going in there, able to at least find one, tries to get the scout out, knows that there's at least one person in the back of sight. This one is not gonna be a good eco round at all for, sorry, not an eco round, a good gun round for OTSU as Carleton Ravens. Once again, they look for those mistakes and they punish them, and they're resulted with that thrifty round.
They're resulted with a thrifty round that 3 players stay alive, and they're able to recover the rifles off of the bodies of these OTSU players. So suddenly that economy that was looking so worse for wear for Carleton gets a little bit more stacked for a couple of those players being able to carry over those rifles. And now there's a really good chance for Carleton Ravens White to end this attacking side 7-5, which all in all isn't that bad of a half for them.
No. Honestly, this is already much better than what we saw on their last map. Back to, once again, 13-2 was the last score line, and already look at this. Scotty trying to punish a little bit. Oh, Hunter's Fury gets used as well. Almost able to secure that 1 kill. Just slips away, but so much damage already implemented into Carleton. Thankfully, though, still alive, so they have those tools, and, well, oh boy, it's all weird, but Falcon, able to at least find Tay, knows that there's one more around the side there. And it's just like one bullet will take down half the team on Carleton.
Yeah, they could collide a couple of these players. Falcon's going to tuck back away into wine. I don't think they're going to expect that. It seems like they just want to run at these players, but they're leaving too much open for them. And so much exposed to this team. Pop flash out for the swing at a Jihoon. Lockdown's going to be used because why not? It's the last round of the half, and there are a couple players that this might punish, but they don't know the flanks coming out from Scott Flyboy already, but they check it. And now they can run, but they don't know JHK is going to be here, but they check it.
Oh, this is unbelievable right now. Once again, it was that trickle effect that we saw in that second round as well. OTSU, they're like, oh, one person died. Let's just go and check out what's going on there, trying to get that trade. But once again, got to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more cautious about that. And now the Carleton Ravens in an excellent position. At this point, you know that they are kind of wishing that they held on to that lockdown, but still, OTSU 2v2 scenario here. No ultimates available for either of these squads. And still that Sylvia utility does exist. But, okay, yeah, a couple of swarm grenades online as well. Carleton Ravens in, quite frankly, an excellent position right now.
Yeah, that should be able to stall out a little bit more of this time, which is already taking OTSU Esports a long time to get in towards position.
Oh, the fragment
trying to spot out those swarm grenades, but yeah, the fragment's going to be used to keep Toby at arm's reach. They take down the Odin, and now they know exactly where to look for Toby. Both players heads on a swivel to finish this off on quite the high note for Carleton Ravens White. 5 rounds on the horizon. It's just a 31 HP jet to take down a Jihoon. The raise from Bind steps up as the Killjoy delivers a 4K to put 5 on the board for Carleton Ravens White.
And it's that level of just kind of overconfidence from OTSU that, quite frankly, makes that round slip away from them so quickly. A 4v2 scenario. They should have been able to get that. The lockdown gets used in a little bit of an awkward position. It doesn't matter. Carleton, OTSU, they can set themselves up nice and fine. Don't worry about that lockdown at all. And, well, they just kind of throw people around, and unfortunately it doesn't quite work. Once again, it just allows for those 1v1 situations, and now Carleton, they're starting to heat up a little bit. They're now on the defense. Let's see how OTSU are going to be playing this. That double duelist, in theory, should allow for a better attacking half, and, well, they did look extremely dominant on map number 1 on the attack. Let's see if they can play that forwards here.
All the pistol rounds have gone to OTSU, so again, I mean, if it continues to be that way, that's going to be difficult to continue to climb out, and Skeptic now going to be cut off from Bling Bling Boy, and both of them going to be in a little bit of the deep end now when it comes down to this A site, but they are swimming their way back to the top with Bling Bling Boy and Tay both going to find individual fight wins, leaving OTSU Esports not with a lot to desire inside of this round, and I'm not sure if Falcon is going to know Jihoon is going to be on this close angle. They do not check it, and another one bites the dust.
Once again, it feels like that they were just expecting to be able to run in there and find all the kills necessary, and they're starting to show a couple more mistakes, not fully checking all the corners before advancing in onto the site. Still really good just kind of setup and plays, but Carleton are doing an excellent job at just kind of backing off here. First kill going for JHK. They're going to try and get that spike down at least, as it's going to be 3v2 on this pistol round on this retake. Okay, make it a 1v2.
8 HP. Surprisingly, not out of the realm of possibility for JHK, who's been such a lights-out player, but it is a very difficult mountain to climb in that round. Finally, the Ravens, they put on a pistol round here in our series, and we got ourselves a game.
Oh, absolutely, we have ourselves a game. Jihoon as well, starting to turn things up a little bit. Unfortunately, was not doing too hot on the Rays on that last map, but I think that just spoke to OTSU's, like, you know, explosive potential, right?
It's crazy what happens when you put away the judge, too.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. The shotguns weren't working, and we're seeing a lot less of that this map, huh?
It feels definitely a lot more collected for Carleton, where it seemed like Bind was a little silly.
Yeah, I kind of agree there. Seems like that they were really just banking on those close corridors to give them quite a bit, but now OTSU, they have to give the respect to Carleton. Oh,
my
no
goodness.
way. Oh, it was just above. He's getting a haircut, Scotty. Doesn't even know how lucky he is.
He just did like the whole outline, like one of those crime scene chalk outlines.
With bullets. Yeah.
With bullets.
Oh.
If only they knew. If only they knew. If only they could see what we see. Yes, people at home, we see the outlines. They don't see the outlines.
All right, the smoke's already coming out, and quite frankly, I really like the way that Carleton had played this previously. Just kind of zoning things out with those smokes and have a little bit of that utility here. But Jihoon, ooh, spots one out, doesn't take the shot though. And now they know, so spray going through, but JHK finds him.
And now that's going to put a lot of pressure down onto the sofa. They don't clear fully into the corner. Toby does Toby things.
Inspirational.
With the sheriff. You just don't teach it. That's things they only write about.
Oh, man. Okay, see, when you have those types of moments, it's so easy to get yourselves feeling overconfident, right? But quite frankly, I think that was just a really smart play coming in from OTSU. A little bit, obviously we can talk about Toby being able to click heads, of course, but, you know, Carleton kind of looked the same. They just assumed that, oh, all of them must be over to that site. And so some of those basic foundations of like, hey, maybe we should check if they're pushing out or little things like that, they just kind of let slip. And so it's easy pickings for Toby. And suddenly it goes from a very easy situation to, uh-oh, we've lost this round. Aggressive, though, already from OTSU as they use that paranoia and swing off it.
Yeah, they isolate Jihoon, and that's going to be a lot of utility off the board of Carleton without that killjoy. And Tay goes down as well, so suddenly a little bit of firepower lost from this team, and team's members, they keep falling. It's dominoes for Carleton Ravens.
Jeez.
As OTSU, they just walk on site and they walk through.
It's so interesting to me right now because it almost felt like Carleton looked like the overconfident team on that last round. We saw the way that OTSU, when they were feeling overconfident, they're like, yeah, we can just run it. Yeah, we can win our gun duels. And quite frankly, that's kind of what we saw the Ravens doing as well. Obviously, Scotty has started to turn things up, able to find a lot of kills on this Reyna, but it just felt like Carleton's positioning wasn't that good anymore. You know, they used a little bit of their utility, but they were mostly just relying on being able to win out the gun duels. And I'm sorry to say it, but with how OTSU have been playing it, if you're just going to try and take those gun duels just 1v1, it's not going to work out well for your team.
Tay's going to be under pressure yet again. The Bulldog's going to find that kill, and These one-to-one duels just continue to be such a terror in the
no.
eyes. God, Flyboy runs out of bullets, and a lifeline is at least thrown into the water now, into the chasm that is this series. But look at the damage done to a lot of these members of the Ravens. Jihoon down to like 1 HP.
Yeah, and at least they're all camping out onto site right now. And oh no, Jihoon already goes down just to a little bit of a wall bang. Continuing to spray things down. Falcon kind of low on ammo in that sheriff, but that's okay. They have the information. They're spraying through these cardboard walls. It's a trade going back and forth, and yeah, just like that, it's going to be OTSU running over Carleton there. And OTSU, they're back.
They're so back. I think this is the scariest part for Carleton because you are at such a crossroads with your economy where it's like, what do we do at this point with 10 rounds for OTSU, 4 rounds apart from both of these two teams? How close they were at one point to evening up the odds as well, just 1 round down from having a tie game for the first time in I don't know how long between these two teams. Things have suddenly or quickly fallen away from Carleton, and they need to find their way back.
Oh my
quickly.
Goodness me. Look at this. It's so aggressive right off the bat. They just take so much space into mid, but it doesn't matter. OTSU, they chose right. They make their way on site very quickly, have all their utility as well to stall it out now, and, well, once again, the Carleton Ravens not in the best position on this retake.
Not in any position at all. Everybody's on the outside looking in. And all OTSU need to do with that player advantage is just trade, if need be. So that is exactly what they're looking to do. But with these rifles, at the same time, it could be a lot more one-sided than people expect. Swing in from Jihoon, not going to hit the mark on JHK, who's TPing across.
Ooh.
Doesn't seem like too many rifles are going to be leaving the hands of these members, but Skeptic's going to take 2 to the grave before he falls. Any more damage would be the cherry on top for Skeptic, but they do not allow it, and OTSU get ever so closer to winning the series in a 2-0 fashion.
And just like that, I mean, once again, it was... I just want to say on the fly, OTSU, an excellent job of being able to read what Carleton were trying to do there. I mean, once they realized that the site is empty, they're like, okay, everybody hold on to your utility. Let's save it for that post plan. And now look at all the ultimates that they have online. Carleton are at least close to getting Tay with the Hunter's Fury online too, in addition to that lockdown and the Bladestorm. And quite frankly, you would want that online first though, because quite frankly, OTSU, they could use the lockdown, and there's not going to be that much of a response, especially as they make their way over to this B site. The lockdown is a very effective tool at least getting rid of, or not getting rid, but pushing people away and more or less taking the site. And yeah, already there it is.
It's now or never. It's a Venn diagram, drop down, lockdown for lockdown, and
they're going to contest it.
OTSU do it. They will. Toby wants to dive right in and catches Tay with her pants down back in Boathouse. The lockdown's not going to detain anybody. However, on the attacking side, they detain Jihoon. So this Nanoswarm's going to do a chunk of damage onto this Killjoy. Or no, it's actually not going to reach. So there's a chance for Jihoon to continue to win this one out. Toby's going to be here watching over this one. A crossfire, some damage traded from both sides. In goes Skeptic, down goes Falcon, and so does JHK at the same exact time. 2 versus 4 on site. Toby, can you bring this back? Blink Blink Boy says no, and suddenly it lies onto the shoulders of Sova with an Odin, and although that is your safe haven on Ascent, it's not going to amount to the round win.
And not bad at all. All they needed to really use was that lockdown, and well, sure, we saw a little bit of flashiness coming in from OTSU, but Carleton Ravens, they just kind of bide their time and then very methodically start to move into there. You know, we talk about, I feel like the common theme between these two teams right now is talking about just them being too overconfident in how they want to take that. That round from both these teams looked very evened out. It felt very disciplined. You saw the flashy plays. We know that aggressive style is how OTSU want to kind of do things. But as soon as they kind of get themselves set up, then they try to make sure that they are just in the right positions to be able to take Carleton out. And Carleton did the exact same thing. The round went their way, but still, they have to be able to start taking a couple more because OTSU are only 2 rounds away from just closing out the series 2-1. 2-0, sorry.
A round here and there just isn't going to cut it. You got to start piecing them together and connecting the dots. Carleton, can they do it? Skeptic falls off this ankle, and it's a load of space here to play for Falcon. they decide to reaggress at any point, could be the pain of this round. They're going to drop a smoke over towards Connector. Start to walk up market slowly. Guess who's here? It's Jihoon.
Just waiting along. Has this Guardian. No shotgun this time. Not calling for backup, though. That's going to be interesting. Hunter's Fury right off the bat here. The double swing. Jihoon able to get one, but immediately gets traded out. JHK, though, took a lot of damage for it. Global Teleport going to be used here. Oh, never mind. From the shadows, put back into the pocket. As the Skeptic is able to find Falcon as well. Already Carleton in the advantage.
I think they thought they could just TP over towards A right away, but as soon as you lose Falcon, they have to go back to the drawing boards and think about it a little bit more. B right for the takings, and they will. Spike will go down. But what a kill from Tay! That is going to be such a kicker for what could have been. Tay's going to take down Cuddy as well. JHK with 20 HP. Not long for this round. And Ravens, they're starting to put it together.
I'm just saying, maybe Tay shouldn't have been the one with the operator in hand, because that Odin's looking plenty fine right now.
Oh, yeah.
Sylvan and Odin, best friends, right?
Can't go wrong with it. It's like bacon and eggs. You know, it just goes together.
Oh, man. And you know what? We have to talk about Jihoon as well, because I think that Jihoon has been doing a fantastic job of really anchoring down those sites and is able to find a couple of picks right off the bat, really just to slow down the OTSU force. I mean, we see how fast Toby's kind of going in there, and somehow Jihoon more or less is able to stay alive, allowing that Killjoy utility to be online when they need to retake or, you know, delay them, put them into an awkward situation so then you can spray them down and take things over easily. Still, both of these teams have enough money to buy up rifles. We go again. It's going to be the Odin spray coming through here. Not going to be finding much this time around. Maybe a little bit of chip damage, but it's going to be the recon bolt immediately shot out.
If anything, it's minimal chip damage. Nothing that OTSU are going to be worried about.
Oh, jeez.
Skeptic's got a good angle. Backs off for the second. Spots the barrel, and there it is!
Yep.
Couldn't ask for a better player to take down either.
Yeah. That first kill is going to be hugely instrumental in this round. They still have the Hunter's Fury, though, so OTSU aren't quite out of this yet, but Carleton, with the amount of numbers they have, they've got that null command available. I think that this is an easy round for them to win, as long as they don't let the spaghetti slip through their fingers.
It's tough. Very slippery pasta.
It is a very slippery pasta.
Now Storm's going to be out. Oh, Tay has minimal damage. Surprisingly, but Tay's going to look away at just the worst possible time, and Jihoon goes down. That was the Tay show. Bling Bling Boys here to back him up. Skeptic joins in with all the chaos. The Op and the Odin ring out a couple of kills, but Scott Flyboy doesn't have the spike. The Empress is going to be called in, suppressed by Toby. For the moment, the reposition. Is it going to be enough to find yet another kill? It will be. So Scott Flyboy now full HP. Spots out Tay as well. This could be the nail in the coffin. 12 seconds left. Tay's going to reposition. Scott Flyboy running right in, and he doesn't know. Tay's going to clutch up with a triple kill.
Oh, man. Just a little top of Sova's hair was on top of the box, but you don't. If you're not looking for it, you won't see it for a second.
Hard.
And now Carleton, there's only 2 rounds for them to tie things up, and they are turning it up. We're COTSU. I talked about those simple mistakes, and it feels like a couple of those simple mistakes are starting to showcase themselves a little bit more. They're a little bit more cautious about how they're doing things. We're not seeing that super aggressive style that really they thrive in. And it's leading down to some of these more riskier rounds. It always feels like the Ravens are just in a better position, and that is mostly thanks to Skeptic with the operator. It's getting a lot of value with it.
So much value, and on top of that, the trust is there for the Ravens. They have taken flight, and they are soaring. Toby's wings get clipped, but still the gun is there.
You're kidding
and the gun's going to turn into a quick 2. I cannot believe that just happened.
Oh, Tay tries to get that back, but goes down as well. It's up to Skeptic with this operator. That's a beautiful headshot. 2v4 in the situation.
Is it enough? It doesn't seem like it. A 1 versus 4 for Jihoon now. And they know exactly where this Killjoy is. First kill going to be done. Hunter's Fury available for Cuddy, but Cuddy's going to be so up close and personal. The turret's going to locate this Killjoy, give away the position. JHK gonna forward this as well to the rest of the team. And now Jihoon, can you get it done? You cannot. 12 rounds picked up from OTSU, now knocking on the door of victory.
I mean, obviously, when you take a look at the scoreline, you know that Toby isn't the one who is really carrying OTSU through this map, because, quite frankly, like, Scotty's been doing a fantastic job as well, just kind of getting all those kills. But when you need a momentum round like that, Toby has actually brought OTSU through this just based on these momentum rounds individually. First, that Blade Storm Thrifty round that we saw in the first half, and then that one where just a couple of kills right off the bat. So adaptable to these situations, and now you know OTSU got to be feeling kind of nuts with it. Already the Blade Storm going in. Let's hope this isn't an overheat. Might be. Skeptic able to at least find one kill onto Toby as the Blade Storm just goes down.
And, like, you cannot make it up either. Toby, who is so aggressive, flies into these sites, and Toby literally just clips their wings. It brings them back down to earth, humbles them for a moment. But you cannot make it up that literally Toby says, no, now that you brought me down, I'm just going to sit on my throne in that last round. And that was just insane mechanics.
Yep. Immediately, just the spray down from up top. More than enough, and it's good. Oh, the timing there, just a little bit off, and Scott goes down as well. And so OTSU, they're in a really bad spot here. I think at this point, you just try to make sure you're able to get as many ultimate orbs as available, because you got 3 chances to be able to shut things down. Carleton, once again, we need to see them, playing this level of discipline, because that's when they look their best. If they keep that up, I genuinely think we can hit this overtime scenario. This has been a very decisive start to this round, and if that has to showcase itself moving forwards, things might be looking good for Carleton.
I mean, if they can keep shutting down Toby and Scott in the way that they're doing, the sky is the limit right now for Carleton. And anything is possible. That is going to give away so much information, and you can already see the rotation coming out from Tay to reinforce this site. With 13 seconds left,
just to
it
save.
Seems like OTSU are going to opt in for the save now. Carleton find double digits, and what a turnaround from this team. I am so impressed with what Carleton are putting on right now for Ascent. This is not their map pick, everybody. They just got 13-2'd on Bind, which was their map pick. So this turnaround for Carleton Ravens, it's amazing.
Yeah. Amazing 100%. I mean, we've had some disconnects coming through. All of this stuff just kind of getting thrown at Carleton, but they're pulling this one back. And moving into this next one, sure, we have Jihoon with that lockdown available, ready to go. But Tay as well as Skeptic, both one ultimate orb away from getting their ultimates online. I have to imagine the game plan right now, if you're OTSU, is get Falcon onto that ultimate orb, get the lockdown available, and then try to make a play off of that one. But you know, Carleton, they got to be able to read this. They know what's coming for it, and they're looking to just shut the door before OTSU even sets a foot in.
Yeah, and who's here to shut it? Hand already on the doorknob. It's Skeptic. Lockdown's going to be called in. Skeptic just looking for an angle, but the tag through the wall backs him down for the moment, and they have to show their respect for the lockdown.
Yeah, now all the room taken. It's going to be a very fast plant, but keep in mind, Carleton, they still have a lockdown of their own. Thankfully, we do see OTSU have that, Hunter's Fury available, ready to go to counter that one, but it's a little bit of a risky gamble. You want to save that for the post plant.
Well, here it is. Skeptic's going to get first one. Almost knocks down JHK as well, but it's going to be Tubby to get that trade. 18 HP for Scott Flyboy, and Bling Bing Boy's going to get an angle onto that. Hunter's Fury is no more for the post plan. They have the dark cover to block off that extra sight line. Bling Bing Boy's going to walk on through. Falcon now trying to contend for this one. Time ticking low. Falcon makes it a 2 versus 1. Now 1 versus 1. And Falcon gets the clutch. A 1v4 for the Killjoy, and that is a heartbreaker for Carleton.
I thought that round was 100% Carleton. I thought they were doing such a fantastic job. I was going to comment on the fact that the rotations are so well timed that they're just able to go there. And yet, it's just one pesky Killjoy coming in from tree, completely shuts it down. And quite frankly, too, honestly, the positioning of that worked out perfectly just because of how that shock bolt landed. It forced the Killjoy to go onto that off angle to be able to take Tay down, and then just swung onto the Omen in that 1v1 scenario. Colin, that is an unbelievable wave to end this series off.
It's just so many what ifs to be thinking about for Carleton throughout this whole series. So many chances and potential for this team that, you know, we will dive into deeper, but at the same time, nothing but respect shown from
Absolutely.
the players of OTSU and the individual prowess that these players have. I mean, Falcon catches the smallest little timing, and then in the end there for the 1 versus 2, isolates both gunfights to take them. That is composure, and just something that not a lot of players can do when their backs are against the wall. So that is incredible from Falcon to put the game away in that kind of fashion.
Yeah, and on top of that too, I mean, obviously we've been complimenting OTSU a bit, but at the same time, you know, the Carleton Ravens, White, the fact that they were able to bring it that close after having a 13-2 defeat on their own map pick, quite frankly, I think that that team deserves a huge shout out because they really figured out their own strategy. They started to play confident again. They believed that they could win map number 2, and we really were able to see that on Ascent.
It's night and day from Bind towards Ascent. You know, if you asked me what the map picks of the series were going into or after the series was done, I would have said that OTSU picked Bind and Carleton picked Ascent, but it's completely the opposite. The fact that Carleton Ravens were able to keep their composure and not give up going in towards that Ascent, it says a lot about this team and the growth that they're trying to show and, you know, what they're putting together inside of this camp over at that school. So the Ravens put on a good show for that second map, and it makes me excited for, you know, what's to come in the future for this team. But I did say there are a lot of what ifs for this series that I'm sure that these players are going to be asking themselves after the series done. Like, what if they didn't dump all those ultimates back on their attacking round and they had a couple to play with towards the end of it? What if they didn't get 1v4 towards the end there? Or even in their defensive side, what if they didn't give up that second round after winning out that pistol? I mean, there's just so many things, so many opportunities that Carleton had that I'm sure they're going to look over inside of their VOD review after today, you know, whenever they're going to do it down the line throughout this week, that I'm excited to see how they patch those mistakes going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once again, this is only week number 3 in this entire league, so there's still plenty of time to be able to, you know, get down, get academic about it, try and figure out what went wrong, what's going right, and get yourselves ready to go because once again, both these teams looked really good. Obviously, OTSU win it 2-0, and I don't think that that is really reflected in that second map scoreline, but still, Carleton did a fantastic job. And just like that, that's going to wrap up the broadcast for today. Make sure to follow NECC on all the different social media platforms. And once again, you know, if you want to be able to see the VODs, especially too, we're talking a lot about VOD reviewing, maybe counter-stratting, just head over to the NECC Esports YouTube page, and we've got all the broadcasts and matches there. It's an excellent way to just kind of go back and see what happened because still, Valorant does not have a replay system. So, you know what? That's a good way to kind of start to figure out what might have worked and what might have not worked. So, hey, the resource is available. It's up to you to make sure that you are utilizing it.
And I'm sure a lot of these teams and a lot of these players are going to be utilizing it across the season to find an edge over each other. Well, that's going to be it from Marks and I for NECC coverage between Carleton Ravens and the OTSU esports team. It is a 2-0 for OTSU as they take the win on the night to close out this show. We will see you all next time on NEC. But for now, keep holding it down and take care.